On this week's show, Peloton launches several new betas, including a new strength app, a video game, and personal training plans.
Plus, a new partnership with Fitbit, new training programs launching later this month, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 189 of Pelo Buddy TV, a Peloton show for the community by the community. I'm Chris Lewis, and I'm joined this week by our special guest co-host, John Mills. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Chris. Thank you for asking me to guest co-host. This is always a pleasure. You know, I enjoy this show and I enjoy your company. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. And for people who might not be familiar with you, you're the one of the co-hosts of the Connected Fitness Forum. You're the founder of the Run, Lift, and Live group. That's your leaderboard name on the leaderboard. You're the founder of the Alex Brian nonprofit. So you're out and about everywhere.
Yeah, it's really busy. You know, my day job, I'm a software architect for a large insurance company. And so I'm like all of us, you know, trying to fit these things in that we enjoy doing, but we don't really have time for, like, around the edges of our time. Right?
Squeeze it in where you can, and then, you know, who needs sleep anyway?
Right, exactly. I mean, you know, we can catch up on that later. Exactly.
So, there's time for that.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, we like to remind everyone you can find us on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV. You'll find the podcast. We're on YouTube, on the Pelo Buddy YouTube channel. We're on all social media platforms. Just search for Pelo Buddy, and you'll find these stories we talk about as they happen in real time. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to leave us a review on those podcast platforms. Those help, you know, more people find the show. And yeah, just helps get the word out there. And with that, I guess we will get started.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Our top story this week is that Peloton has announced 3 public beta programs that will be starting in the coming weeks and months. The 3 programs are going to be a new standalone strength app, which they're calling Peloton Strength Plus. There's going to be a virtual gaming-inspired workout, which they haven't shared the name of, and there also is going to be personalized training plans, which they're launching, which will be available on the Peloton app and across the hardware devices. You know, interest of this has been pretty... there's been a lot of interest around some of this once the announcement was made. Have you seen interest in that area, John?
Yeah, you know, in listening to the folks in the Run, Lift, and Live group, all of that stuff seems like things of interest. But, you know, whenever there's anything new that drops, for me, you know, I quickly kind of run to it to try to figure out what's happening. And I'm such a fan of the company. I'm looking forward to things dropping just so that, you know, they may engage and entice other, you know, members. So, yeah.
And so a little more details about each of those. The first one is the Strength Plus app. And what this is going to be is it's a separate standalone strength app, which is going to be designed for people who want to more deeply engage in their workouts at the gym. And Peloton is saying this will actually feature instructor-led workout programs in a gym setting. And they're going to be able to create custom workouts for you based on what equipment you have, what area of focus, what time you have. So it sounds like they're really going to be, you know, focusing on that people who want to take their workouts to the next level and work out in an actual gym instead of at home.
The idea of like the doubling down on strength is interesting to me. I remember you shared something, it may have been last month, around like the metrics of what disciplines were growing, and strength was like at the top of that growth channel, right? And so, yeah, the idea of them doubling down on strength and then giving folks, you know, new ways to do it, better ways to like personalize it for what they do it in the settings where they already are doing strength. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that's neat.
Yeah, and Peloton, you know, when they announced last month that they were shutting down on Wednesdays not to do live classes, they talked about they were going to be working on new programs and a focus on strength. And I think this is that first effort of them kind of focusing on strength.
Right. Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense. For years, I didn't even touch Peloton Strength. It was like all cardio, and then my strength program was completely disparate.
Mm.
But now I'm actually like touching it. So yeah, all of this stuff I think is good stuff.
Yeah. Well, the second thing they announced, which we talked about, was they're calling it a virtual cycling game, and they're calling it an immersive gaming-inspired cycling experience meant to encourage social engagement. Now, if you're just reading that might sound like lane break to you, right? Like, what's different about lane break? They're not teasing lane break as part of this. It's going to be more involved. They've not really said what it is yet, but my gut says this might be their Zwift competitor. So they're trying to kind of go after that Zwift market. Because for the longest time, you've had people saying, why can't I run Zwift on there? Can I do Zwift on Peloton? And that type of thing. So I don't think this is going to be them literally letting you run Zwift on there. I think it's going to be a version. I mean, they're not going to call it Ever Say Zwift, right? But it seems to be their competitor to that.
Wow, this sounds really kind of cool. I know they're talking about social in this gamification type thing. And yeah, my mind just immediately goes to what you just talked about, like a scenario where it's social, but it's like you're there with someone else and you can compete in some way. So yeah.
And the announcement, they did say that it would be a virtual training environment, including a personalized avatar riding through simulated landscapes, either alone or with other virtual riders. So just sounds like Zwift, right? There's worlds in Zwift. You can ride by yourself or you can ride in a Peloton. So it'll be interesting to see what that shakes out. Again, they've not given more details besides that broad virtual training environment, so we'll have to wait and see. But if you made me guess right now, I think it's something to try to compete with Zwift.
I'm looking forward to this one. This one, I got to see what this is. This sounds kind of cool.
Yeah. And then the last beta they teased was the personal training plans, and Peloton saying that this will, have plans that will be expertly designed personal workouts and machine learning to generate a weekly set of class recommendations. We take your fitness preferences, habits, taste, and curate a list of classes to each person's needs. They did say that you'll be able to pick from 2 goals. One will be get stronger and one will be support weight goals. And this is them kind of starting, I think, to dabble in that health and wellness thing that they talked about a while ago. They did mention that you'll be able to create it on the app, but it also take it and show you the plan on your bike, tread, and row. The interesting thing is they didn't mention the guide in any of this, but the guide's actually had a weekly workout plan feature for several months now. So it might be that they're just taking what's been on the guide and expanding it and putting it on these other platforms that weren't there yet, but they didn't really explicitly clarify that. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it sounds like another level of personalization. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I think that sounds awesome.
Nice.
Cool. So the next thing we got is Peloton and Google Fitbit have announced a new multi-year partnership. With this partnership, Fitbit Premium members will get access to a selection of Peloton classes. This will not be the full library. Instead, new content will be added to the app incrementally to ensure a best-in-class experience. This will include a wide range of Peloton class types, including strength, Pilates, running, boxing, cycling, bar, and more. For Fitbit users who don't have a premium subscription, they will receive a select group of classes. The partnership is across Peloton's English-speaking regions. This means that Google Fitbit members in the U.S., Canada, UK, and Australia will receive the Peloton classes through the Fitbit Pro platform. The classes should be available to Fitbit Premium members starting sometime in 2024. My wife used to be like huge Fitbit user, but I haven't been. So I don't know how to gauge the level of, excitement or anticipation relative to this. I don't know how to gauge that.
Yeah, I mean, Fitbit was one of the first wearables out there, right? Like when wearables were first starting, Fitbit was where you went. And for people who don't know, Google actually acquired the company a couple years ago. So they are now part of Google. So they've got a large user base, but I mean, in terms of like the Peloton member, they're not getting much, right? I mean, they said the Peloton members, they would get a couple discounts on watches or Fitbit devices. I think the bigger picture is how many Fitbit users are there, Fitbit premium members are there, and how many of them will like this enough to then want to sign up through the Peloton membership. I think that's kind of the play there.
Right, absolutely.
The one piece they didn't talk about, and we know that with, Peloton made a similar deal with Lululemon, where Lululemon studio members get Peloton classes. We found out later that Lululemon is paying Peloton millions of dollars for those rights. So we don't know what the financial terms of this. So it could be that Google is also paying Peloton millions of dollars, in which case, that's the end goal, is that Peloton's making extra revenue on this. It'll help the company stay in business longer. Peloton members keep getting classes, and everyone wins there.
Right. Every time I see these partnerships, like the Lulu one and this one, I start wondering, will they show up in some way that is identifiable, like in the earnings report? I don't think they ever do. We never can figure out how they benefited from the way the numbers are laid out in earnings.
Unless an analyst asks about it and they happen to mention it during the call, from what I've seen, they don't really split that out in a this is Lululemon. So it's, unless there's an analyst who asked that question, they have to pull it out of them. But that's not something they specifically split out for us to see.
Well, if there's an analyst listening, please ask that question.
Yes, definitely.
I'm interested in that. How well are these things benefit? It'd be interesting to know.
Well, speaking of Lululemon, we shared last week that it looks like there's a special event happening at Peloton Studios on September 12th through 14th, because there's no public classes on the schedule. And at the time, we said that we knew that All for One was going to be coming up, so it could be All for One, or there was a chance that it was a Lululemon weekend, because they've been teasing one of those in the fall. We still don't know what's taking place on the 12th through 14th, but now we do know that there will be a second Lululemon members weekend at Peloton in September. Lululemon had emailed out to some of the Lululemon members. They said that it's coming up again in September. Registration opens later this month. So sometime in the next 2 weeks from when this is taking place, we'll know when that's happening. Again, there's still nothing on the schedule for September 12th through 14th, so it still seems very likely it's either Lululemon or All for One. We're just not sure exactly what the dates are, but at least for the Lululemon members weekend, we should know within the next 2 weeks when that is taking place.
Wow. Yeah. And we know, I think you reported that we know that the All for One is coming. We know that.
Yeah. DJ John Michaels was asked to ask me anything, and he specifically said, yes, it's the favorite thing we do. It's coming. He just didn't give a timeline. I do know last year, I believe it took place on September 3rd to 7th-ish. So it was early September. So the timing kind of looks like it could be that 12th through 14th, but maybe it'll be later in the year this year. We just never know.
Right. Well, awesome. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, well, another thing coming up, we've shared before that Peloton Studios, New York and London, are having some fall closures coming up. PSNY is going to be closed for a week or two as they do some regular scheduled maintenance. They do this every year around the time over the Labor Day holiday period. But along with that, once the studios open back up after September, it looks like we're going to have one of the regular seasonal schedule changes that we get, 2 or 3 times a year. It's not on the main schedule in your app yet, but they've been loading classes for members to book in the studio. And based on that, it looks like there's a lot of instructors whose regular scheduled times and just classes are moving around. For example, for the last year plus, since rowing's been a thing, it's been at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's been the members' rowing slot. It looks like starting in September, those are actually going to be moving to a 6:30 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. Eastern time slot. In addition to that, you've got instructors who have just always taught on Sundays at 2 p.m. They might now be Fridays at 1 p.m. So a lot of slots are just moving around. Again, that's not really unusual. They tend to change these up every, 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, you've been a member for, a decade now, and you've probably seen this every year, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the schedule movement. I've always wondered, what was the biggest factor in it, right? I know some of it is, what is most available and aligning to the instructor's schedule. But I always wondered if there were metrics and member feedback or strategic around, people that they want to get more alignment or more classes and more folks taking their classes. I always wonder what all went into that, this idea and resulting schedule. Right.
Yeah, they've never really publicly said that. I do know they've mentioned from time to time, like they know that, certain people can't work out at 6:30 in the morning. And then, that instructor might move to a evening slot or a later in the morning slot, which lets more people who might not have worked out with them before have that chance to do the live. So I think some of it is just that let's change it up so that people in the West Coast have an easier time doing these and stuff like that. But I'm sure there's metrics and data. And like you were saying, that giving some other instructors the more prime spots to let them get that exposure.
Yeah. I'm sure it's got to be. That's got to be a part of it. There's some strategy. Cool. Well, also, Callie is back. Peloton instructor Callie Gullickson plans to return to Peloton in September upon the conclusion of her maternity leave. Callie specifically shared this in comments on a recent Instagram post. Callie and her husband, Chris, have been living in Florida since the birth of their first child, Cash, in March. This has caused some members to speculate whether she will actually return to New York. A member commented on Callie's post on Instagram, writing, "Are you guys ever coming back to New York?" Callie replied that she will be back in September. Also, she has a studio class with members on the schedule for September 16th. So she may be back sooner, but at the latest, she'll be back on the 16th. I bet a lot of people are really excited about that. I know Callie was incredibly popular, and her classes were incredibly popular. And some of the terminology she used, I would see a lot on social channels, so a lot of people would share that stuff. So I'm sure there's a lot of folks really excited about that.
Yeah, and they've not said, like you said, they've not really put it on the public schedule yet, so we're not sure when that first class will be. We just know that at least by the 16th, she'll at least have a live class with members. So at this point, less than a month to go till she's back on the platform. Well, speaking of things to look forward to, Peloton has shared a couple new programs that will launch by the end of this month. There is a new Strength for Soccer program launching in both English and German. That's going to be released on August 23rd, and the description for that is build strength and endurance in our new one-week Strength for Soccer programs with Eric and Marcel, meant to help you up your game on the field. And like I said, that one will have two versions of the program, I believe. There will be one English language program and one German language program. That's something new they've been doing. They actually started that with the Strength for Golfers program they recently did, where they had an English language one with Selena and then a German language program from Irene. So it's great to see them, kind of make that for, members of all the languages that they support. In addition, they've also said that there will be a new one-week meditation program from Kira Michelle launching on August 30th. It's going to be called 7 Days to a Calmer You. And this one says, join Kira in a week-long guided meditation program that focuses on cultivating calmness and emotional equilibrium for just 10 minutes a day. And that one, like I said, will be out on August 30th.
Cool. That's awesome. The strength things you talk about, they're doubling down on strength. I mean, strength.
Yeah. Right? They're not joking when they say they're really leaning into that.
Right. They weren't playing. Like, they're serious. Well, awesome. All right. Well, preempting the standard Peloton post, which typically arrives on Tuesdays, a few instructors have shared the full schedule of Peloton's next artist series featuring rock band Imagine Dragons. Peloton's Imagine Dragons classes will be split across both Thursday, August 15th, and continuing into Friday, August 16th. Classes from the U.S.-based instructors will be on Thursday, while the UK-based instructors will teach classes on Friday. There will be a total of 9 classes across 6 different modalities, including 3 classes instructed in German. Classes will primarily take place live, with 2 occurring as premiums. Those classes are a 30-minute upper body strength with Rad on the 15th, a 30-minute yoga flow with Mariana on the 15th, a 30-minute run with Marcel Dinkins on the 15th. Then in the round of the 15th, a 30-minute row with Matt Wilpers. And then on the 16th, a 30-minute run with Marcel Auer, and a 20-minute full body strength with Asal, a 30-minute ride with Mela, and a 30-minute ride with Ben, and a 10-minute cool down ride with Bradley. Members will earn an Artist Series badge for completing any of the Imagine Dragon classes. Imagine Dragons is currently anticipated to be the final Artist Series for the month of August. as Peloton prepares for their summer studio closure. I mean, I can't lie. I'm not very familiar with Imagine Dragons. Are people going to throw tomatoes at me for saying that? But I know this is huge. I know this is huge.
To be fair, I see it seems like you don't know a lot of the artist series, so it's it's not
right?
unusual. At this
it's
point.
not unusual.
Yeah.
For me, I never know that. This is what it is, Chris. I think, like I've told you this. I think satellite radio ruined it because now I just turned to like 70s and 80s R&B, and I don't have any idea of any artist that is playing any music anymore. Like, they ruined my cultural music, breath.
Well, the good news is if you do want to diversify and explore and find new people, you do have this weekly opportunity to, check out the artist series and check them out if you feel so inclined.
That's right. That's correct. I'll definitely have to do that. Yes.
Nice. Well, for the past week or two, we've been sharing the story of Nick Mead, who is a Peloton employee who ended up winning a gold medal in the Olympics. He was part of Team USA, who did the 4-man rowing event, and Team USA won gold for the first time. I believe it was in 64 years for that event. We've been sharing that story,
Wow.
and one of the things people have been asking is like, he works for Peloton. Why don't we see him on the platform? Like, why don't we see him teaching classes? Well, Peloton had that same idea, and they have quietly added a new 30-minute champions row on the upcoming class schedule. At the time you're hearing this, it would have either been just coming up very shortly or taken place. It's on Sunday, August 18th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. They at the time we're recording this, they don't really have a 2-for-1 image up there. It just says, Champions Row with Alex, but the class description says train like a champion with Alex Karwoski and 2024 Olympic gold medalist, world champion rower, and Peloton team member Nick Mead. So this will feature Nick. The one thing we don't know at the time we're recording is it going to be a true 2-for-1 where they have two rowers up there on the platform, or will he be more of a featured guest where, they give him a microphone, they put him in one of the member rowers, but they, have a light on him, they have a camera, so they're able to do an interview and feature him without him being actually on stage. So we don't know that quite yet, but, we'll update everyone next week once that takes place. But I think it's cool that they're, one, that Nick was interested in doing it, and two, they're just giving this opportunity to feature Nick to all the Peloton members out there who want to know more about him.
Right. I mean, okay, wait a minute. So, Nick won gold in rowing.
In rowing 2 weeks ago. Yep.
Wow. Okay. This is like, incredible opportunity here.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind also thinks, does Nick want to be an instructor? Like,
that's what we don't know.
Immediately go to that. Like, oh, wow. Yeah. That might be something cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, they've not hinted at that. I mean, a lot of people have been asking, like, why doesn't he teach rowing too? But,
right.
This is the first step in that. And again, he might not even be up on the platform. A couple months ago, they had a class with Lindsay Sterling, and it was a Bex Gentry and Lindsay Sterling, and she wasn't up there on the platform, but literally half the time they were cutting the camera over to Lindsay. She had a microphone, she had a light. So again, even if he's not on the stage, they can still feature him a lot with some camera work that they might do.
Wow. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I want to check that one out. I don't have a rower, but I'll definitely be in that class.
It works just as well on a bench as it does a tread class and a bike class. So
yeah, okay. Yeah, I might be taking it from, the bench. Yeah, I might be doing. All right, cool. Well, Peloton has launched a new class series with instructor Alex Toussaint called Greatness Runs. Peloton sent a pop-up notification to the digital app informing members of the new series. The message said, "Athletes, are you ready? Alex Toussaint leads these outdoor classes meant to help you progress at your own pace. Get on the road to greatness starting August 7th. Members also observed a banner on their tread devices advertising the new classes. The first class is now available in the on-demand library. It's a 20-minute greatness run, which was released on August 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern. The official class description reads, build your physical and mental greatness in this special 20-minute run with Alex. With each stride, Alex will motivate you to move with a purpose, test your limits, and unlock your greatness potential. or your greatest potential. Though the pop-up notification suggests that the greatness runs will be an ongoing series, it is currently unclear how frequently the classes will be released. The description does indicate that they will be limited to the outdoor modality and not on the tread. There could also potentially be a dedicated collection in the future. The outdoor greatness runs are different than his signature ride and run to greatness classes, which has a competition element. That doesn't appear to be a part of these outdoor greatness runs. Instead, the outdoor greatness runs are more of a training series. You know, Alex and running, like when he first got into running, I was thinking, ouch. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know he's incredible, bike instructor, but I was, running is a different thing.
Yeah.
But he has been amazing at it. I've seen him grow at it, and I get stronger and stronger, and then become this much more demanding type runner.
I was going to say that might be good for some people and bad for others. Like, because when you go into an Alex run, it's not going to be
right.
a nice, easy like
right. But when it started, we thought, oh yeah, Alex, I'll take this one easy. Now it's changed up. Now he's a little more aggressive. So kudos. And I'm sure I used to do outdoor runs religiously. I used to run outdoor a lot. So this would have been right up my alley, and I got to get back to that. So yeah, this is awesome.
Nice. And the one thing I will add, just for people who might have missed it in previous, I guess it was a month or two ago, but a recent feature for those who have the Peloton Tread, you now actually can take those outdoor runs on the tread itself. They added a new feature where you can browse the outdoor classes, and, if you just want to run indoors with those, you can still take those on the tread. Even though there's no video, it'll just be a splash screen, but you can still get those and get credit on the tread.
I love it. I think that's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah, people have been asking for that forever, so it was a nice little ad to enable that.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. Well, each week Peloton makes they call it their This Week at Peloton, where they highlight some classes that are coming for the upcoming week. This past Monday, they were highlighting a couple 60-minute, hour-long classes they had that took place this past week. One of those was a 60-minute bike boot camp with Jess Sims. They highlighted a 60-minute endurance row with Alex Karwoski. They highlighted 2 different hour-long tread classes. There was an intervals run with Bex and a walk and run with Mariana. And finally, they had a 60-minute total strength class with Andy Spear, which took place today. So they highlighted, 5 or 6 different options for people who wanted to get those longer classes in this week.
Wow. Get the longer ones in. Well, I'm looking for shorter ones, Chris.
Well, the good news is for you, there seem to be more shorter than longer. So, you got to highlight those longer ones to make sure people know they are out there and, they are dropping those every now and then.
That's right. That's right. A 60-minute Jess Sims boot camp. Jess, I love you. I love you. But that sounds like pain, Jess.
Well, she's got the 60-minute tread boot camps every week. The Sim 60 Tread Boot Camp Signature Series, which was formerly known as Saturday 60, but, taking that 60 minutes and throwing on the bike boot camp just for a little change of pace this week.
Yeah, I love it. I like it. It's cool stuff.
Nice. Well, just a random note, if you've ever tried to attend a class at Peloton Studios New York or have attended, you know that they book rather quickly. But there's something called not the Peloton waitlist, just the waitlist at Peloton Studios for people who miss out on that initial slot of classes. People who try to sign up for the first time, like, one question we see is, how do I get on the wait list? Because if you go, everything just says full. So there's a bit of a system, like it has to show a wait list. Long story short, if you're curious about that, we're trying for the first time. We put together a little guide on our site that has pictures and what to expect if you're trying to book a wait list at Peloton Studios New York or London. So we've got that over on our site as a reference. If you're ever trying to do that, you can check out or share with a friend.
That's pretty cool. Wow. To add that to the site, Chris, I think that's awesome. I've heard often questions about the process. So to have like some type of, dialogue or some type of text on your site, it kind of can point people to learn how to do it. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Peloton has announced the date and time of their fiscal 2024 Q4 earnings call. In a press release on August 8th, Peloton shared that the call will take place on Thursday, August 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. they will release their fourth quarter earnings results prior to the call taking place. Dial-in and webcast information has been provided for those who wish to listen to the discussion about the results. You can find the dial-in information on the Pelo Buddy website. We will have a recap and updates from the earnings call shortly after it takes place. I look forward to the earnings call stuff only because I've been watching it for so long.
Right.
So, and then, I've seen all of the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations. And, for the last year, we've been, fighting towards, break even. And I saw it kind of get there the last earnings call. So now I want to see, what the progress looks like. I also am interested in, I'm so used to years and years ago seeing that every month they were selling tens of thousands of bikes, right? And then eventually treads. And then we watched that wane. And so, but they didn't have the same marketing and partnerships and all the things they have now. And to the last earnings call, I was pleasantly surprised at the number of new pieces of hardware sold. Yeah. So, having seen it wane for so long, right? And so that's interesting to me. I really want to see what's going on.
Yeah, this will be the first earnings call where the entire quarter was led by the new interim co-CEOs. They announced when Barry stepped down. Right. There are two interim CEOs and not heard much from them in the last, literally since the last earnings call. So this will be the first chance to hear from them. So it'll be interesting, what they have to say, if they're, how the new CEO search is going and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. You're right. That'll be interesting to hear.
And I'm always a little cautious or curious. It's the week before the earnings call. They announced a Google Fitbit partnership. They announced these betas. I'm always just, when I hear that the week before the earnings call, are they saying that so that on the earnings call they can say, but look at what we announced going forward, So I'm always a little, but I will say the Google announcement was timed on the same day as Google announcing their new phone and their new watches. So that seemed to have more external factors on why that announcement was made then. Like they timed it with Google's new wearables, which are Fitbit. So that one kind of made sense to me. So, maybe I'm just being cautious and it's all going to be great news next week. And, then they'll have more great news to look forward to the next quarter too. So we can hope for that and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll wait and see, but I get where you're at. I mean, lots of stuff happens around an earnings call date for various reasons. So.
Yeah,
I got you.
Well, we hopefully will record next week after the earnings call has taken place. So hopefully this time next week, we can give you all the recap on all that and share what you missed if you didn't listen to the entire earnings call. Well, Peloton had a couple random pieces of news in terms of their apparel and accessories. First off, they announced a new Peloton Wellness Essentials collection. And this is what they're calling their new Peloton Marketplace, where they're bringing together third-party partners who have made Peloton accessories and featuring them on the Peloton website. I think there's 8 to 10 different vendors on there. There's about 60 products. This includes some partners they've worked with before, like Hyperice is on there with some of their massage tools. Little Words Project is on there with some milestone bracelets. But they've also got some brand new partners who they've never had before. One of those is Gus Grips, and they make sweat protections for your bike or row. But that was actually created by a Peloton member years ago who's kind of been, had her business out there, been working on this, but is now finally partnered with Peloton and is on their website. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that, a product developed by a Peloton community member is now being featured by Peloton on their website.
I think that is so incredible because, some of these smaller, like Gus Grip, some of these smaller third parties have like amazing stories behind why they came to their product that I think would benefit Peloton to align to. These people tend to be Peloton members and fans, right? So that they love the company, which is why they develop the product, which I can't hurt Peloton. And then just kind of sharing in the celebration of these third parties of the company and, kind of reaching a hand out to them. Wow. I think that is overdue. So I don't know a whole lot about some of the other third parties. I know Gus. I think that's a great thing that they partnered with.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in other apparel news, they shared that they restocked their Dream Blend apparel. So if you love that brand of apparel, you have some new color and size options you can go get on the apparel store right now. And one negative change that they made for the members is that it used to be where if you ordered apparel and your shipping cost after discounts, apparel credits, and all of that was $50 or more, you got free shipping. Well, I believe at the start of the month, they quietly changed that. So now it requires $75 worth of not membership fees, of apparel fees to get that free shipping. So cost of everything is going up. I'm sure your USPS shipping has gone up. So it might have been eating into their margins a little bit, too much. But now you have to order a little bit more apparel to get that free shipping out of it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm all that surprised, right? Because like you said, like everything, it's everywhere. So yeah, it makes sense. Rebecca Kennedy recently celebrated a birthday. On August 16th, Rebecca shared on her Instagram feed, "It's my birthday today. I turned 38. She also shared a message of love saying to her followers, "My life is fuller because of you. I hope to bring sunshine, strength, and positivity into your life. I hope to impart wisdom and levity when needed. I am grateful for your presence and your fierce dedication to the work that we do. And boy, am I proud of us. Getting older is a privilege, getting stronger is a choice, and I choose this beautiful, ever-changing life." Which I thought was a nice message on your birthday that was inclusive of her appreciation for the community as well. And also I got the hint of a celebration of time on this planet.
Yeah.
So I applaud her, and absolutely, it is a privilege to get older. So happy belated birthday, Rebecca.
Yeah, happy birthday to Rebecca. And with that, it's time for instructors in the news. So do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. So Peloton instructor Jermaine Johnson has announced the birth of his son. Raymond Ray David Johnson was born on August 3rd, 2024. Jermaine shared the news via Instagram today saying, "Meet our ray of sunshine. Raymond Ray David Johnson, born September 3rd, August 2024 at 306, weighing 3.7 kilograms. It's been hard to find the words to announce our beautiful son's arrival in the world. I now understand why people say nothing can ever truly prepare you for it." Jermaine goes on to explain that the first few days were challenging and frightening, with Ray having to spend some time in the NICU. However, they have since taken him home and are grateful and looking forward to starting this new chapter of their lives. Jermaine first shared that he and his wife were expecting in March. Jermaine will be off the live schedule for some time on paternity leave, and so congratulations to Jermaine and his wife. Wow.
Yeah, congrats to both of them.
A son, and that's awesome that he had a son. When my daughter was born, I was thinking, I need to have a son. I need to have a son, right? And then when my daughter was born, I realized that it didn't really matter, right?
Sure.
It was much more rewarding in the scenario that it played out for me. So,
right.
But I also do recognize that guy has a son that I get, the excitement that they tend to have. So congratulations.
Yeah. Well, in other news, we shared that Christine Dierkerle was going to be competing in the U.S. Masters Track National Championships, and that event took place last weekend in South Carolina. Christine ended up coming home with 6 different medals across 6 events. She competed in the 500-meter time trial and got first place. She was in the individual pursuit and got third place. She was in the scratch race, got second place. She was in the points race and got first place. She did the match sprint and got second place. And finally, she did the team sprint and got first place. So in addition, last weekend was her birthday. So she, celebrated her birthday coming home with 6 new medals and 6 new, national championships. Huge congrats again to Christine.
Wow. She's out here competing, like winning stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like taking a small 30-minute class and then, barely can walk back to the couch. Man.
One thing we'll have to wait and see. In years past, she's gone on to compete in the World's Championships, which take place usually in October. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head if she's competing in Worlds again, but, it might be she's just carrying that training over to Worlds coming up and, might have another big medal haul coming home soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to Christine. Go ahead. That's awesome stuff. I love it.
Just a casual 6 medals in a weekend, six championship races.
Yeah. No big deal. Just went out there and brought home 6 medals. Cool. Well, on his Instagram feed on August 9th, Adrian Williams indicated he would be making an announcement on August 11th, which is his grandmother's birthday. And on August 11th, he announced the launching of a new community called Great Things Take Time, a saying he says his grandmother would say. He calls the community a place where we can learn and engage with each other. He describes it as where he will be able to talk directly with community members. The website address is greatthingswithadrian.com, all one word. On the site, you can sign up for his newsletter, which also gives you access to other content on the website. He also has a new Instagram page called greatthingswith_Adrian. And so follow it if you want to learn more about that. It wasn't clear to me if this, it was truly just engagement or if there was any type of a paid component.
The newsletter piece is free, so you can get his newsletter and updates for free. He's also got an upgraded paid membership, which is either $9 a month or $96 a year. What that's going to get you, he's going to have some in-person and virtual events that'll get you access to. It'll get you, he's going to have a members-only Discord community, which is a chat platform where he's going to be on and, interacting with members a little bit. And, I'm sure he'll post announcements, and when he does those, he'll probably give a little lead time to people on the paid membership. But he does have that free component of some of the blog posts on the website and the newsletter, or you can do a paid upgrade to, that Discord platform.
Got it. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people that love I love the personal aspect of what Adrian talks about and that family aspect of things he talks about. And, so I'm sure, a lot of folks will be signing up for that. That's awesome. Congrats, Adrian.
Yeah. Well, going back to the Olympics for a minute, we had shared that Bex Gentry would be part of the team commentating for NBC, and we weren't really sure how she would be involved in that. It turns out she had a guest segment before the Olympics, and she kind of previewed what the athletes would be, having to deal with. The women's marathon race was actually one of the very last events of the Olympics. They had the men's race on Saturday, and then the women's race took place on Sunday, which was the last day of the Olympics. But in between those two races, on Saturday night, I forget what the official name is, but it's essentially the Marathon for All. And anyone who wants to sign up can go and run on the Olympic course and do a marathon that evening in between the two events. I think there are around 20,000 people who did that, and Bex was one of those. So Saturday night, she goes and runs the entire Olympic course with 20,000 other people. She then wakes up early and is on air with NBC, and she's doing a guest spot for them. And they're essentially asking her, what are the hills like? What sort of training do they need for this? How do you manage those hills? So she kind of used that experience from running the actual course the night before and shared that as part of the broadcast. So that's, Bex was featured on NBC talking about the Olympics and helping cover the event that way. So that was cool to see Bex, sharing her knowledge and experience. And for those who don't know or might not realize, Bex actually tried out for the Great Britain team in 2021 for the 2020 Olympics, which were delayed a year. I believe she is 4th place in that time trial, so she came super close to being on the UK team for the Olympics in 2020. So, she's very familiar with the Olympics and the Olympic trials and all of that, so brought that experience to help cover it for NBC.
Wow. I didn't actually see her segment, but I'm really interested in her perspective on the difficulty of this course and what her thoughts were. Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, I believe it aired around 2:30 a.m. East Coast time. So I'm not sure it made it to so they aired it live at 2:30 a.m. when it was taking place, and then around, I believe it was noon U.S. time, they re-aired the majority of it, but they started about 7 miles into the race, and I think Bex was in some of that earlier portion. So I don't believe her segment made it to the re-aired part that more people saw.
Oh, man. Oh, well.
But still
right.
cool.
I think
still cool to be out there and, getting that
Yeah.
broadcast experience.
That is incredible. I think the whole thing's incredible. And and the exposure for her, the exposure for Peloton, the alignment to how much of an athlete these people are,
100%.
You're aligning them to Olympic athletes. I think it's incredible. That's awesome. Kudos to Bex. All right. On Wednesday, August 14th, LL Cool J stopped by the New York studio where he held a listening party to hear some of his new music. This comes almost exactly 1 year to the day from last year's announcement of Peloton's partnership with LL Cool J and Rock Bells, which saw a Hip Hop 50 artist series in August of last year. Many of the instructors posted videos with LL, sharing them on their Instagram feeds. I saw all of that going on. I didn't know what it was, and then through the Pelo Buddy, your posts, I realized what was actually going on. I'm an LL Cool J fan. I mean, going back to 85, 86, like the first song put out. And so that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, they have these listening parties from time to time. Like I know they've had one with Idina Menzel. They've had one with various artists who come through, and they just kind of host these listening parties. I think they said that LL Cool J has a new album coming out. I think it was September 6th. I don't remember the new name, but it's essentially him letting the employees, get a sneak peek of that album. And, there's win-wins for both of them because they work with the Peloton music teams, works with the artist and the labels to get rights to the music. And, if an artist comes in and builds that, brief, real world experience, maybe the instructors are more likely to include their music on more of their rides since they've had that interaction with them. So it seems like a win-win for both parties if they can fit it into their schedule.
Right. The longevity. Goodness gracious. 4 decades I've been listening to LL Cool J. Music. This is wild. But that's really cool. Yeah, that's really awesome that they got to hang out with them and that they do these listening parties, that the artists, align.
Yeah. Well, along with that, there was another small event that happened at Peloton Studios New York. Last weekend, the Pillow Pitties group did a studio takeover, and this is for Pitbull owners who have a community, but they all came together and did a ride with Olivia Amato in studio. In addition to just coming together and having that experience of doing a ride, they ended up making a donation to the Muddy Paws Rescue in honor of Olivia. So there's a picture of the entire group, Olivia, the check that they made, the donation that they made to that nonprofit that works as a dog rescue. So that was cool to see, the community coming together. In addition to just, getting the chance to meet everyone in person, they made a donation to try to make a difference as well.
That's great. That's great. I think that's awesome. I feel like I've heard Muddy Paws before, like I've heard some other group or another instructor or someone else do something.
I want to say maybe Jess Sims has done something with them before,
that's what
I think.
It was. Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that's awesome. I think anytime they engage with some of these, true, meaningful things that align to who they are, use their platform in order to highlight and exalt some of these things. I think it's just incredible. I think that's awesome. Cool. All right. Hannah Corbin was a guest on the Live Greatly podcast. On the episode, Hannah talked about her journey navigating an autoimmune thyroid condition called Hashimoto's disease. Hannah shared how she had to shift her mindset to a place of self-love and empowerment. She also talked about her wellness practices, a look into thyroid eye disease, how she is prioritizing eye health as part of her wellness routine, and how she would like to provide inspiration for people going through health struggles. Wow. I listened to like parts of it. I didn't listen to the full podcast, but I listened to parts of it and saw the dialogue of it. And I think that's pretty deep and around a passion around health related challenges and trying to like use her platform to kind of promote inspiration around that. That's deep. Shout out, Hannah.
It's great to see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, DJ John Michael was back on the Pop Theory podcast. He's had an appearance or two in recent months, but he was back on there this week, and he was talking about several pop culture things. He was talking about a Brat remix album and A Case of Good Timing. He was also talking about Chapel Roan, which was an artist series last week Peloton had. The episode's around 50 minutes long, and that is the Pop Theory podcast if you want to go hear from DJ John Michael.
Awesome. I love it. And Emma Lovewell shares her pregnancy journey on the Catherine Schwarzenegger podcast. They discuss the importance of movement to keep your mind and body in a good place during your pregnancy, and also how it can set you up for success postpartum. Just recently, Emma launched a special class called Cradle Your Core, designed to help prepare your core and pelvic floor for childbirth, as well as to help heal during the postpartum period. They also dive into how she landed her leading role at Peloton and what she's learned from stepping outside her comfort zone to land there. They also discuss her motivational book, Live, Learn, Love Well, Lessons from a Life of Progress, Not Perfection. Yeah, it's funny, I started listening to the podcast, and she was, they were both kind of sharing, their pregnancy journeys and some of the advice they get that that might freak you out, and some of the things that were more beneficial, and so it's very interesting kind of hearing their lives, these people that we've kind of enjoyed riding on a bike, but now they're just talking about life moments and life experiences. And so yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice. Well, in another, moving away from podcasts for a minute, Jeffrey McEachern was featured in a German publication, and I apologize in advance that I'll probably pronounce this wrong, but Tagesspiegel. It's behind a paywall and it's in German, so I was unfortunately unable to read the entire thing, but if you have access to that publication, you can see an interview with Jeffrey where he talks about running, some tips for running, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes of this episode if you'd like to go check it out. But Jeffrey had a nice little feature, so congrats, Jeffrey.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I love it. And Peloton instructor Callie Gullickson was featured in People magazine. The article was under the celebrity parenting section and discussed finding her groove as a new mom and staying confident, learning not to stress about things and take problems as they come. In returning from maternity leave next month, Callie said she hopes to bring back some of the confidence she's gained as a new mom, saying, "I think one of the main things I talk about in my strength training is working your muscles, lifting heavy weights, doing hard things is going to make you more confident. So I feel like motherhood has definitely been a challenge, but I do feel like day by day I am becoming stronger at it and I'm getting more confident in it. And I think that's something that I'm going to bring back to my classes." And which makes perfect sense to me, like life experience, life journeys, things you learn, they come back to the things that you're doing. And if you can incorporate those in, especially in their field where it's inspirational stuff, it's motivational stuff. If you can bring that life stuff in, it makes people relate to you better, and it gives you a better ability to kind of deliver your message. So everything she said resonated with me. So looking forward to Callie.
Nice. Well, Marcel Dinkins had a couple appearances this week. First off, she was on News 12, and she was featured in a segment called Fitness in 4, Do This, Not That. And she gave some tips on how some strength training moves can help you be a better runner. So there's a little 2-minute segment that features Marcel that you can check out. In addition, she was also on the podcast called Self-Growth. The podcast was called Hack Your Happiness. And she joins that podcast where she kind of talks about her journey, where she used to study fashion. She worked in the Army, and now obviously she's on the Peloton platform, but she kind of shares some tips on the importance of learning and pivoting and her top hacks for self-growth. So again, we'll have links to all of these appearances and the show notes, so you can find those over on the Pelo Buddy website or in your podcast platform if you want to check those out. And with that, it is time for class picks of the week. And I will get us started. And our first pick of the week was Rebecca Kennedy's 30-minute Chapel Roan upper body strength from August 8th at 6 p.m. It came to us from Just Shields and Just Dance Lisa, who said it was musically great and a great upper body workout. We then have Aditi Shaw and her 30-minute Chapel Roan Power Yoga Flow. Came from Amajar 3, who said it was a fast-paced flow set to great music. We then have Cody Rigsby and his 30-minute Chapel Roan ride, also from August 8th at 7 p.m. This came from Denise Brock TX and Kay Brownie 61, who said, great artist series and thank you, Cody, for not talking over the music. The vibes and the music were immaculate.
Awesome. We then have Akira Michelle 30-minute yoga flow from August 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That comes to us from Amajar 3. And she says this is a great showcase of her teaching skills. We also have a Mariana Fernandez 45-minute intervals run from August 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And this comes to us from Stevie223, who says great playlist and great coaching as you always get from Mariana. Indeed.
Agreed.
Shout out to Mariana. I love Mariana. Shout out. And then we have Hannah Corbin, 20-minute low impact ride from August 9th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Comes to us from Cassie23, who says great playlist and great way to refresh after a long week.
Nice. And then we got Milo Wiedekind and her 30-minute low impact ride, which was in English from August 10th at 7 a.m. Eastern. This came from Carly TBS, who said an amazing English language ride from Mila. Fun playlist too. We then have Matt Wilpers and his 90-minute Power Zone Endurance ride from August 10th at 8 a.m. Eastern. This came from All Biz Liz, Shay Nation, and Abby C. King 18, who said, I love the Power Zone program and it feels amazing to ride for 90 minutes straight. The plays with cadence were a challenge and a great way to mix up the 90 minutes. So it's good to see Peloton, have more of those, 90 minutes, 2 hours every now and then. Don't have them too often, but, once every month or 2 months, they sneak those in there.
There you go, yeah.
And then we got Ben Aldis and his 15-minute full body strength from August 11th at midnight. This came from Daisy Mac, who said he had such a great, heartfelt message and included Coldplay.
Awesome. And then we have Jeffrey McEachern, 30-minute 80s run from August 11th at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Ouch, 4:30 a.m. Eastern. It comes to us from Just Dance Lisa, who says 2 songs from George Michael. So glad that Peloton has the rights now. Plus, it's in English. I'll have to tell Erica about that. She loves George Michael. That's a good one.
It's in several classes over the last week. So if you check, search for George Michael on the platform, you'll see a bunch of classes have just popped up with him now.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely let her know. And then we have Dennis Morton's 30-minute Hit and Hills ride from August 11th at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. That comes to us from Twin Cleats, who says, this class blew me away. The music, the energy, the buzz. I love Dennis's vibe. Indeed. Shout out Dennis. And then we have Jess King's 60 minutes to a steady walk from August 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This comes to us from Haha on Fire, Red Strong 82. And they say, great class, great playlist, and 60 minutes. See, they're excited about 60 minutes. See, Chris?
Yep.
See?
You need that mix, you need the long ones, and then you need a bit of everything.
Yeah, you're right.
And then we got Sam Yo and his 30-minute 2000s rock ride. This came from August 12th at 8 a.m. Eastern. This came from Sammy R43, who said, Sam knows how to put together a fun playlist, and it is always so calming and relaxing. We have Andy Spear and his 30-minute full-body strength class from August 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern. This came from Nat M. Mann and MKEGO84, who said perfect pairing with a TS60 class and great for running. We then have Camila Ramon and her 5-minute warm-up ride from August 13th, which drops at midnight Eastern Time. This came from Jamie4682, who said this was a nice little spicy warm-up ride.
Awesome. And then we have a Hannah Franks and 45-minute Power Zone Tropical House Ride. All right. From August 13th at 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Oh, ouch. That's where the ouch. 2:30 a.m. That comes from Boca Britt, who says, tough workout, but had a great playlist to pull you through. Yeah, I bet. That sounds awesome. And then we have Eric Yeager's 45-minute low-impact ride from August 13th at noon Eastern. And this comes to us from Nina La, who says, a wonderful message from Eric. Love, laugh, be friendly, and make other people happy with your smile. Austin. And then rounding it out, we have a Jess Sims 60-minute bike boot camp, full body, from August 13th at noon Eastern. This comes to us from Ro Re Pride, Hassan N 1989, J Madrid 36. And they say this was just a killer, super hard workout from Jess, but it felt so good after. Jess, I love you. You know I love you. I'm going to do one of those 60 minutes one of these days. One of these days, I'm going to get to it.
One day.
Yes.
Well, that wraps up our show for the week. John, thank you again for sitting in and helping us cover all the news this week. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime.
And again, if y'all want to hear more from John, you can usually every week, John has it's called the Connected Fitness Forum. So it's another podcast you can go check out. And it's more of a roundtable discussion of some of the news. Community members can hop on and listen and just, share their thoughts on the news and other random things that popped up during the week. So you can find John over on the Connected Fitness Forum if you want to hear more from John. And I'm over there from time to time too, joining in the discussions now and then.
Chris keeps us calm and level. He's like the voice of reason. And we're all like, scattery. And
I don't know about that.
So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, from me here in Atlanta, thanks for listening, and we'll see everyone next time.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.